it's Cece here, and today I wanted to talk about sexuality. For the people who don't know, I am a bisexual. And for a girl in Sweden who is either bisexual or homosexual, it's quite hard to find people to talk to. I mean, Sweden is a very accepting country, don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm talking about. I mean, it's hard to find people who are like you and talk to on the internet or something. Because when you go on the internet as a Swedish girl searching for gay sites or bisexual sites, it's more sites for guys than there are for girls. I mean, I've been looking for sites where I can find girls or bisexual guys or stuff like that, where I can talk to other people who have the same sexuality as me, where I can talk about this stuff. I know that there's a lot of girls out there who is confused and doesn't really know what kind of sexuality they have. I've talked to a few girls. I always answer when I see someone who's looking for help when it comes to sexuality, because I didn't get that kind of help when I was struggling. So I wanted to give a tip for the Swedish girls and maybe some other Scandinavian girls. I have two sites, which is cruiser.com, which is an HBTQ site for the Nordic people. HBTQ supportive people can go on this site. I mean, you meet a lot of weirdos, I'm not going to lie, but there are some great people out there too. And the second one is for Swedish people, Swedish girls, which is called Sylvia.se. Really not that great, but you can meet some people out there. What I really wanted to talk about was the fact that there are a lot of girls out there who are struggling with their sexuality, and they have questions and they don't really know, they're insecure, maybe they deep down know that they are something, but they are too afraid to admit it. When I was 13, I struggled with this, and for me it helped a lot to watch other people talking about it. You know, I watched a lot of coming out videos on YouTube, and I watched movies, and I watched documentaries and stuff like that. So I wanted to help the other girls who were just like me when I was 13, or guys. I mean, it helped for me to watch guys going through this just the same as it was for girls. So I am going to talk about my coming out story. Like I said, I was about 13 years old when I started to get confused about my sexuality. The thing was that I started to get feelings for a friend, and I tried to push them away because I was denying it. I'm not going to lie, I did deny it, but later on I started to watch videos, like I said, YouTube videos, coming out videos, and watch movies. Deep down I knew since I was little that I have always had crushes on girls and boys too, but I thought it's normal. Hey, I'm straight, I'm completely straight. I mean, sure, I can have a crush on a girl, that doesn't mean that I'm sexually attracted, but that was when I came to that age when I started to get sexually attracted to people. It was when I sort of didn't really fall in love, but I was definitely having a big crush on my friend. The real reason where I realized that I was having this crush on my friend was when I started to get jealous of the boys she hang out with. I was starting to get jealous of her ex-boyfriend, and I started to get jealous when she was on dates and stuff like that. So I realized that I was having a crush on a girl. She was beautiful. Oh my god, she was so beautiful. I knew how my friends would react, and I knew how my mom and my siblings would react. It was more, I didn't know how my dad would react. He did not mean to do this, I know that. But when we used to watch movies where there were gay couples and stuff like that kissing and having a romantical, you know, he was always complaining and telling us how gross it was. I mean, he was always making faces and be like, ugh, ugh, no, ugh, you know. And this made me very insecure, because I was afraid, well, what if I get a girlfriend? What if I want to kiss my girlfriend? Would my dad be disgusted by me? This was the main issue why I was scared to come out. But after a while I just couldn't keep it in anymore. So I started by telling my best friend, and she didn't care. Which I knew she wouldn't have a problem with. And then I started to tell my other friends and a couple of friends I had at school, and none of them had a problem with me being bisexual, which I knew. I didn't, of course, tell the whole school, but what happens next in the school, I will talk about that later. Like I said, I waited with telling my parents, because even though my parents are divorced, they have been since I was like 1 year old, I still wanted to tell them both at the same time. But then it was my dad. I was so afraid that he was going to get disappointed or going to get disgusted by me or something like that. This is actually the only coming out scene or memory that I can remember detail by detail, because I was so nervous. It was so scary. I don't remember what day it was, that I don't remember. But I remember that we were helping my big brother to move out of his apartment because he was moving to another one. Me and my mother and father were standing in the kitchen. I think we were packing some boxes. And I was standing in the doorway and I was thinking, this is it. They are both standing here at the same time. Just do it. Just say it. I was looking at them and I said, but in Swedish, of course. I'm going to translate for you guys. Mom, Dad, I would like to talk to you about something. And they both looked at me like, oh my god, she's going to talk about something serious. What is this? I remember there was like a pause, and I remember I was looking down at my fingers and trying to rub the nail polish off my thumb, because I didn't really dare to look at them, or I was trying to mostly focus my eyes on my mom, because I know that my mother would not care at all. I was trying to keep my eyes away from Dad, but I did throw in a look at him once in a while. And then I was looking at my thumbs again. I remember how hard it was for me to get the words out, because I was stuttering. I kept repeating the word I, and I was like, Mom, Dad, there's something I want to tell you. I, and they were looking at me, and my mom was, yes. I think I might be a bisexual. I was not looking at them when I said the word bisexual. I was totally facing the ground. And it felt like I had a big ball of air stuck in my throat and I couldn't breathe or anything. I remember the silence after. It was only about 1 minute tops, but it felt like a lifetime. And then my mom said, okay. Well, I knew that. My mother was not surprised at all. My dad, on the other hand, was a bit surprised. He had a shocked look in his face, and my dad noticed that I was looking at him. I know that I was looking terrified. I know this. I could feel it, and I could see it in his facial expression that I was terrified. He could see it too. And then he was like, oh, okay. Okay. We love you anyway. And that was when the weight just lifted from my shoulders. And then I was riding back home with my dad, and my dad has this thing. During a car ride, he always asks the important questions or stuff like that, things he needs to say, because then neither of us can run away. Then he started to ask things about the sexuality and stuff like that, and if there were anyone particular that I was having a crush on or something like that. And nowadays we actually, when we sit and watch TV, we discuss hot women together. I have 3 siblings. Coming out to them was like coming out to my mother. Not a big deal. So I guess that my coming out story to my beloved ones was quite easy, because it was only one person that I was worried about, but that person loved me anyway. Leave a comment down below what you thought about this video. Did it help? Did it not help? Don't comment if you're just going to be like, oh, you're going to hell because you like girls, because then I mean, comment if you want to, but I'm just going to think you're stupid. So why don't you just become a pixie and subscribe? Because you guys have just been pixed.